6:55 right now. A reminder, the news doesn't end here. Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC.
Arena's law was made for folks who commit violent offenses on our transit system. Now one group says they want to use that same law to stop folks who might get behind the wheel of a car and cause fatal accidents. We'll explain coming up.
The transportation plan that maps out Charlotte area road projects through 2055 is almost final. Coming up, why this is your last chance to weigh in.
Sunday marks the 25th anniversary of Dale Earnhardt's tragic death at Daytona.
I think NASCAR needs to do something. You know, how many more are going to go?
How his passing propelled the sport to adopt significant safety improvements.
And we're live in Milan as we wrap up the first full week of the Winter Olympics.
In fact, Team USA just a couple medals away from the top of the leaderboard. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
An important update before you head out the door this morning. We're following a pedestrian accident. It's right here off of Independence and Village Lake Drive. Those mainly will be impacted by those inbound lanes. You can see a picture just sent to my inbox here. A couple of police officers there. They do have it over on the side, but there is some traffic that will be backed up. Be careful as you're traveling inbound on Independence. I'll be following everything else for you on WCNC Plus. Chris?
Well, I just hit a little bit of a graphic problem in this froze, letting you know there's an Ascent game this Saturday. So I just really wanted to make that really apparent.
It's a very big game.
Yeah, so just letting you know that is happening on Saturday. So in case you didn't see it, it wasn't big enough. That's also going to be Valentine's Day. 64 degrees, widespread rain on Sunday. All in all, not a bad weekend, especially if you can stay in on Sunday. And then after that, a nice warm up.
Quite literally there for a second, the Ascent game was the only thing happening.
Yes.
I love it.
All right, join us on WCNC Plus at 7 o'clock. Is there an Ascent game on Saturday?
Yeah, there is. Don't miss it.
I think so. streaming live at 7 a.m. on a Friday morning right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off this hour with a check of your forecast on this Friday the 13th. Chris is standing by, smiling because of all those blue skies.
Yeah, check this out. We got sunshine. We have beautiful skies today. I think at most you're just going to have a few upper level clouds here and there. A bird was just zipping by on the Monroe camera. Yeah, but absolutely gorgeous. And we are nice and clear that many of you went out and actually are able to see SpaceX rocket launch cruise by the Carolinas off towards the east, past and gone now. 32 degrees officially. We did just drop down to the freezing point, but this is actually not the coldest morning that we are going to have. It will be actually colder by tomorrow, but a delightful start today. You can see it right here on the ground over in Rock Hill. 32 now around Charlotte, 27 in Rock Hill. So most of us are at freezing or slightly above, and sunshine across the board. As far as your Friday the 13th forecast, high temperature right around 60 degrees, barely a wind chill. Really, I think a delightful day. Yesterday we hit 59. I think we're going to do it again. I think some will even pop into those lower 60s range. But I'm letting you know, if you're an allergy sufferer, this is only the beginning. You are going to beg for levels like this later on in the season, especially once we're fully popping off spring. But this is showing that, hey, those allergens are starting to come out, where elm and juniper are sneaking. I've seen some daffodils starting to pop. That's not a worry as far as pollen goes, but since it's been so warm and it's spiking and we just had the snow, Mother Nature is kind of blind to what's really going on, saying, all right, let's do this. Let's crank things up. There's sometimes in February we can start to increase those pollen spores, and that's exactly what is starting. So it has begun. 29 degrees tonight, as I mentioned, will be colder by tomorrow, and then there's no other morning that it will be like this for at least the next 10 days. I think that we'll certainly revisit the freezing point again some point by the end of this winter heading into spring. But we have a 29-degree low followed by lows in the 40s, which is going to be nice and pleasant. If you have any plans for Valentine's Day, I have no problems for you. We are sunny actually for the first part, so great for being outside. More clouds for the evening, which actually keeps it a little bit warmer. And then Sunday's just doing Sunday things. If you can have a lazy Sunday, binge watching, stay inside, maybe a board game-a-thon, whatever you want to do. If you have to go out and about, it's just rain. I just know personally, if I can on the weekend, it's really rainy and dreary, I like to lean into it, take advantage of it. So happy Valentine's Day. Focusing in on Huntersville, which is very similar to the greater Charlotte area, but temperatures in the lower 60s by about 2 p.m. and then cloudy by once you get to 8 o'clock or in the evening. We're right on the border between a widespread to washout status for your Sunday. This pretty much just means it's gonna rain most of the day. Here's what it looks like on our Futurecast. Let me just roll tape on this. Nothing happens really over the next 24 hours. Don't see those clouds increase until later on your Saturday afternoon, Valentine's afternoon, and then by Sunday morning, we're starting to see our first signs of rain. I think there will be some breaks, but it's late morning into the early afternoon that I think it is coming down. At that point, you have some of the heaviest rain totals. It sticks around for several hours. Some of these yellows represent up to 1/4 of an inch per hour. So when all this is said and done by your Sunday night, I think you could have anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. That looks to be the norm across the board. Our rainfall forecast also agreeing with that, up to about 1 inch. So I think 1 inch is going to be the minimum baseline, which we desperately need for our drought status, or at least to try to help it out a little bit. And I'll have a full update on that coming up. 7-day forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center. 70s. They're coming back before you know it. Right near 70 on Tuesday, lower to the mid-70s Wednesday, Thursday, and next Friday. All right, Majestic, by the way, I said this over on WCNC Charlotte. Love the Valentine's dress.
Thank you. If any girl loves a holiday, it is me. I'm looking forward to a fun holiday weekend as well. Maybe you are. Maybe you're heading out of town. If you are, it doesn't seem like we'll have any big weather impacts out on those roads until Sunday. This is something that's impactful right now, though. It's a pedestrian accident. Right lane is currently blocked. It's on Independence Boulevard at Village Lake Drive. Very important for you to keep in mind. This is one of the pictures that we got into our traffic email inbox. It's right here. Again, those inbound lanes on Independence. Little bit of a backup, but you can see it's off to the side. A couple of police officers, they're still on scene. Another new thing to be mindful about now that we're in that 7 o'clock hour. This is an additional crash. This is going to be on Albemarle Road at Willgrove Mint Hill Road. Still seeing a lot of green around it. We'll let you know if we do have more delays. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. Now to that breaking news we're following out of Orangeburg, South Carolina. 2 people are dead and another is injured following a shooting at South Carolina State University. And just minutes ago, we learned the lockdown on campus has now been lifted.
Officials have not yet confirmed the victims' identities or the condition of the person who was injured. The university says the shooting happened last night in an apartment at the Eugenie Suites student residential complex. Now, the initial lockdown went into place shortly after reports of the shooting around 9:15 last night. Officials have canceled classes for today. Counselors will be available for students.
As of right now, there's no word on a suspect, but state law enforcement is helping with that investigation. The shooting now marks 3 deaths within this school year following the deadly shooting of a 19-year-old during homecoming. This morning, more than a dozen elementary school students are recovering after their bus crashed in Gastonia on the way home from school. A total of 48 kids were on the bus when it crashed near Jenkins Road Thursday. Gastonia police said the bus was taking students from Bessemer City Primary and Bessemer City Central Elementary schools when it went off the road and landed in the woods. We spoke to neighbors who came outside to see what was a frightening scene.
I heard the loud noise down there, and then I heard a bunch of kids screaming. And there was this one little girl, she was, just screaming for her mom.
14 students taken to the hospital, none with life-threatening injuries. Police say one of the children might have a broken arm. Neighbors hope the crash leads to changes that will make that road a bit safer.
A community in Cleveland County is mourning after a Crest High School student died in a crash. Today, the school is allowing students to meet with counselors and support staff. In the Facebook post shared last night, Crest High School says that student died in a single car accident. The student hasn't been identified. We are working to learn more about what led up to that crash and will pass along any details that we receive. As the death toll on our roads climbs, an advocacy group is calling for tougher consequences and a proposed change to Arena's law, which tightens sentencing and release rules surrounding violent crimes. That's at the center of its fight.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live for us this morning. And Richard, this would take Arena's law, which, as Lisa alluded to, was made for specifically violent offenders in the death of Arena's Zarutska on the light rail, and it would shift it to also including people who are reckless on the road. A lot of people say that's a big leap.
Yeah, that could be a big leap, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Friday morning, everyone. Yeah, but the group says what they're trying to do is establish a precedence or continue on a precedence that's just been established with Arena's law, basically, that says if you commit a violent act, a violent crime on the light rail, the chances of you just getting out of jail without paying a bond or going before a magistrate, that's over. They want to make those same rules apply to folks who might get behind the wheel of a car and drive recklessly or violent, if you will. Now, while the numbers of crashes have gone down, the number of fatalities on North Carolina roads have continued to go up. Now, a safety advocacy group is calling for tougher consequences, arguing that Arena's law should be applied when extreme recklessness behind the wheel leads to someone's death. New data from the Charlotte Vision Zero initiative shows that deadly and serious injury crashes are rising. Last year, 81 people killed on Charlotte roads. That's up 9% from last year. Bike Walk North Carolina says reckless driving is a form of violence, and they believe Arena's law should apply in deadly crash cases as well. The law passed after that fatal stabbing on the Blue Line eliminates cashless bail for certain violent offenses and requires a judge, not a magistrate, to set one's bond. Supporters argue that felony death by vehicle is comparable to other serious felonies already covered by the law, but attorneys say it's all about one word: intent. Take a listen.
What Arena's law does is take certain crimes that are inherently violent and that require violence as an element of the crime, not just the outcome, but as an element of the crime, which goes to intent, which goes to how the crime is actually carried out. So what Arena's law does is say, here are these violent crimes that are inherently violent. We're going to treat them in this way.
And that is the major difference right now. They say that would be a hard thing to make happen, but the supporters of actually making this change say it's all about trying to keep the streets safe for people who want to walk or ride their bikes from people who might want to drive reckless. We're right here on South Boulevard. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard, thank you. Well, this morning we're waiting to learn whether a Gastonia student will face disciplinary action after a bomb threat at a local high school. Police responded to Hunter Huss High School yesterday, shortly after the school day started. They say a threat was found written on a bathroom wall. Investigators also looked into a suspicious package nearby. Officers quickly identified that student involved, and police say the threat was a hoax and nobody was hurt.
Mecklenburg County Commissioner Yvette Townsend Ingram is sharing her side of the story after police issued a warrant connected to her 2024 DWI case. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to probation and community service. Court records show she missed a hearing and didn't complete her community service. In a new statement, Townsend Ingram called it a politically motivated attack. She says she was found asleep in a parked car with an open container, not driving, and was dealing with a mental health crisis at the time. She also claims she completed her required classes and community service. All right, take a look at your screen. An urgent search is underway right now for a missing teen in Lancaster. 15-year-old Aaron Jeter was last seen Wednesday night on Glenwood Avenue around 11 p.m. If you have any information where he may be, call the Lancaster Police Department. That phone number is on your screen.
Marco Rubio in Germany, his mission at the Munich Security Conference up next.
Time is now 7:13. A bitterly divided Washington is headed for its third government funding lapse of President Trump's second term. This time, a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security.
DHS is the last federal agency without funding for the remainder of 2026. Amanda Sansoni is in Washington to break down what's behind the latest federal funding fight.
The Department of Homeland Security is on the brink of a shutdown after Democratic senators voted to block a bill to fund the agency Thursday.
The motion is not agreed to.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem blamed Democrats, saying they put national security at risk.
This is a dangerous situation that we're in.
But out of power, Democrats are attempting to use the limited legislative leverage they have in an effort to force changes to immigration and customs enforcement operations. Among the demands, restrictions on roving patrols, more use of judicial warrants, tougher use of force policies, and requirements for agents to wear body cameras and remove their masks.
Unless there are really strong, meaningful reforms to rein in ICE and stop the violence, there will not be Democratic votes.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says the White House is negotiating with Democratic leadership and says it's unclear to him what they hope to gain.
The ICE funding is already done for the entirety of the Trump administration, so they're not affecting that in any way.
But ICE is among the agencies that would in part be impacted by a DHS shutdown, in addition to other critical divisions, including FEMA, TSA, and the U.S. Coast Guard. However, Noem said last fall that 70,000 law enforcement personnel, including in CBP, ICE, and other divisions, would receive their paychecks. With the Senate out on a week-long recess, the department could be shuttered for at least 11 days, unless an agreement is reached and members return for a vote. In Washington, I'm Amanda Sansoni.
The Justice Department has moved to dismiss criminal charges against 2 Venezuelan men accused of assaulting a federal agent. The agent shot one of the men in the leg during the incident. Prosecutors now say newly discovered evidence does not match the original allegations, and they want the case dismissed without prejudice, meaning it can't be refiled. The men had been facing several charges tied to an encounter during a targeted traffic stop. President Trump issued pardons Thursday to 5 former NFL players: Joe Klecko, Nate Newton, Jamal Lewis, Travis Henry, and Billy Cannon. The president's latest pardons, granted days after the Super Bowl, underscore an emboldened president who has escalated his use of clemency. He is far outpacing his first term and even his most recent predecessors.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has arrived in Munich. He says he plans to use this weekend's Munich Security Conference to address what he sees as a major turning point in global geopolitics. He left Washington Thursday. He indicated that his focus would be in strengthening ties with our European allies.
Europe's important to us. We're very tightly linked to Europe. I think most people in this country can trace both either their cultural or their personal heritage back to Europe. So we're deeply tied to Europe, and our futures have always been linked and will continue to be. So we just got to talk about what that future looks like.
Rubio suggested the post-Cold War framework that shaped global relations for decades is really no longer sufficient, and that discussions in Munich will focus on adapting to those changes.
The U.S. Drought Monitor has been released, and what we're seeing in the Queen City and surrounding areas may shock you. Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees shows us next.
We have an updated on the drought monitor here for the Carolinas. Take a look to your screen. Those red spots mark areas with extreme drought conditions, including Mecklenburg County as well.
Now, this is a first in nearly 2 decades. Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees breaks down the data and if this weekend's rain chances could help.
The U.S. Drought Monitor released on February 12th shows something that the Charlotte area hasn't seen in almost 17 and a half years. That's areas of extreme drought in portions of the Piedmont. That's that red shading. And of course, you can see a few areas too in the upstate of South Carolina. This has not been seen since August of 2008, when actually a prolonged period of really significant drought conditions, some of the worst that North Carolina has ever seen, ended here in the Charlotte area. This is a map of Mecklenburg counties last time that we saw those areas of deep red. And that essentially started during a winter period from 06 to 07 and again lasted all the way until August of 2008. Now that was just under 6,400 days ago. So something that many people who live in the Charlotte area have not dealt with in quite some time. There have been a lot of questions on whether or not this could cause any drought, water restrictions, things of that nature. Well, the city of Monroe actually at the end of January did put in a voluntary restriction for portions there of Monroe and Union County. So it is certainly possible. At this point, we haven't seen any of those, but we certainly will let you know if anything changes. This brings up the fact that we have a weekend chance for rain, which is going to be much needed. Definitely not enough to take care of the drought conditions completely, but certainly much needed, which also could allow for an isolated risk for flooding. This will be something people want to watch on Sunday. When you have drought conditions for a long period of time, the dry soil can actually help prevent absorption because it's just too much to handle over a short period of time versus normal non-drought conditions. You got nice soil, you got nice grass, and things can percolate a little bit easier. So again, substantial drought conditions continue to expand across the Charlotte area. We'll watch very closely. And yes, there's rain in the near term that Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich is going to be tracking, but it is not going to be enough. We would have to get about 9 to 10 inches over the next month to get rid of the drought completely here in Charlotte. For WCNC Charlotte, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Thanks a lot, Brittany. So I want to kind of expand this out a little bit more. So we focused in on the red spots. That's extreme drought. And she's absolutely right. Whenever that happens, usually doing almost mandatory water restrictions. But it's the time frame that she had mentioned that we close to about 20 years since we really did this here in Mecklenburg County. As far as North Carolina, the last time we did this was 2016 during November to have any sort of spot of red. The good news is any rain that we get here in the winter months catches things up much faster. If you have a drought during the springtime, everything's growing. So it's trying to take all that water. Well, then nothing's actively growing right now, or for the most part. So that's going to be the good news in our favor. But the crazy thing is 100% of the state is dry. We only have this one little section right here in the southern parts of the Outer Banks that don't have any designated drought, but still 99% of the Carolinas under at least a moderate drought status. Because check this out. Over the last 12 months, we have not had a lot of rain. This is insane, especially over the last couple of months. Most of it has been a deficit. It was only last May and August that were above average. So building on what Brittany just said, to end the rain, or to end the drought, we need 9 to 11 inches of rain in 1 month. I do not recommend that. That would be extremely record-breaking. And as Brittany has also just mentioned, that is like concrete of how dry that ground is. So that would lead to massive flooding issues. But even this, got to catch up. 3 months, we need 16 to 18 inches of rain. And during this time frame, we also are averaging out about 12 inches of rain during that stretch. So yeah, we desperately need it, but we don't need it all at once. So we have to find that almost sweet spot. It's not going to be a good looking Sunday. So that's why I've been giving this out online. So maybe you can take your screenshot here. To whom it may concern, blank has been officially granted a get out of plans free card. Sunday will be cloudy, rainy, and cool, and will not have the necessary motivation for blank for you to do that thing that you don't want them to do. So as your local meteorologist, I got you. This is a guaranteed rain check because honestly, it is just going to be an unmotivational day. There's no sunshine, even when it's not raining. It's going to look like it's going to rain, but most hours are going to have some sort of downpour, not a pretty day. It's drivable, you can do what you need, but if you can stay home and maybe make it a lazy day where say you don't feel like doing anything, just lounging in your bed, maybe sitting in your Snuggie, turn on MTV, and they'll teach you how to Dougie. If you know what song I'm talking about, good for you. All right, let's get right over to Majestic for our morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. Want to give you an update on that pedestrian accident that I've been following for you this morning. Here's the good news. That was just cleared, but we just got reports that one person did have some major injuries and was sent to the hospital. So continuing to follow that, but as of right now, Independence inbound continues to look much better than it just did as it is now cleared. Here's my map. I mean, we have mainly all green, a little bit of yellow with a little bit of congestion now that more people are waking up, starting their day. Only one accident to report now just before 7:30. It's in Union County out by Monroe right there on Roosevelt Boulevard. Guys.
All right, Majestic, thanks. Live pictures right now over Uptown at 7:24. Keep it right here on WCNC Charlotte.
The sun is officially up on this Friday the 13th, but we're going to make the most of it. Lots and lots of sunshine today. Barely a cloud in the sky. 32 degrees. That's where we're at right now. 25 in Lincolnton. This will be one of two freezing starts. Even colder by tomorrow. But then through today, we're reaching the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. Not too bad and not much of a wind chill. And then heading into the weekend, we have some ups and downs. Now, the up, luckily, is for Valentine's Day. If you have any plans, we're anticipating a sunny start. More clouds increase later on in the day. So it should be great weather for the Ascent game, great heading to the Checkers game, but then Sunday, it's going to rain all day, literally all day. And the times that it's not raining, a little break's still going to look like it's going to rain. For your President's Day, all should be well if the kids are off of school. And then, hey, the 70s returning before you know it, middle to latter part of next week. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know about the morning commute?
Good Friday morning, everyone. Well, it is gorgeous outside. I-77 coming in from York County continues to look just fine. We've actually had a pretty nice start to our Friday. Not any big accidents as of now. Hopefully we can keep it that way. I'm following everything for you on WCNC Plus. But before we go, I want to let you know about this. It's on New Hope Road near Court Drive. It's near I-85 inbound out there in Gaston County. An accident just reported. Take it easy as you're heading out this morning.
You are streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Friday the 13th. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson.
With thousands of people moving to the Charlotte area each year, leaders are finalizing a plan to keep people and traffic moving into the future.
It's called the 2055 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and today Charlotte neighbors have the chance to weigh in. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in East Charlotte, breaking down what's inside that plan. Destiny.
Yeah, it's a list of projects that could be completed by 2055, and it is something that could shape how people get around the Charlotte region, again, for the next 3 decades. And it's in its final phase, so there's a lot of work that has gone into this. There are only a couple days left also for you to weigh in before it goes to a vote next month. So it's the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization, or CRTPO. They're wrapping up their 2055 MTP, and it's a federally required plan updated every 4 years. It maps out which road, transit, and mobility projects could be built through 2055. Now, the plan covers Mecklenburg and Iredell counties, plus the western and central urban portions of Union County, and includes 166 projects. From things like interchange improvements on I-85 in Mecklenburg County to widening US 74 in Union County, leaders say this final phase is about reviewing the draft plan and how the listed projects were prioritized using realistic federal, state, and local funding.
This phase of the process isn't really meant for people to recommend projects or give feedback on the projects themselves, but more on the complete product of the plan and the process by which we arrived at this point. There's still opportunities for projects to go up and down the priority list until 2055 and beyond.
And you still have a chance to learn more about this plan here at the Hickory Grove Library in East Charlotte. This is the final community pop-up. It's from 12:30 to 2:30 this afternoon. And then you can also weigh in through an online survey that's going to be available through February 17th. So before the board comes together to vote on this plan next month, these are your chances to learn more about the plan, weigh in on what you think about it. Again, you can find all of this information on the WCNC News app. I'll send it back to you guys in East Charlotte.
Destiny, thanks. A Kannapolis church has fired its pastor after allegations of sexual nature came to light. The Charity Baptist Church says it happened before Marty Payton began leading the congregation and did not involve anybody there at the church. As of right now, it's unclear what these allegations are. We did search civil and criminal court records that may be tied to him, and we didn't find anything. You can read the church's full statement right now inside the WCNC app. President Trump and the First Lady will visit Fort Bragg in Fayetteville today. The president's going to meet with military families and members of the special forces who took part in the operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The president, a frequent visitor here to North Carolina, he was last year in December in Rocky Mount.
North Carolina Senate candidates Michael Whatley and former Governor Roy Cooper are on the campaign trail. The candidates cast their primary votes yesterday. Whatley in Gastonia, Cooper in Raleigh. The two spoke after casting their ballots.
I'm the candidate, the only candidate in this race who spent a career prosecuting violent criminals and keeping thousands of them behind bars when I was Attorney General and as governor.
I think the voters of North Carolina have made it very clear over the last several election cycles that they want a conservative champion. They want somebody who is going to fight for economic policies that will create jobs, that will raise wages, that will lower costs.
Experts have said this could be one of the most expensive and competitive races of the midterm elections.
With the Winter Olympics underway in Italy, Governor Josh Stein celebrating North Carolina's skiing industry here at home. For more than 60 years, North Carolina has been recognized as the winter capital of the South, offering the highest elevation skiing in the eastern part of the state and welcoming hundreds of thousands of visitors every single year. So today and tomorrow, the governor is going to visit App Ski Mountain, Beach Mountain, and Sugar Mountain. Make sure you download the WCNC Charlotte mobile app. We'll bring you coverage of today's event at App Ski Mountain.
All right, 7:34 now. Let's check back in with Chris to find out more about our temperatures and the forecast for the weekend.
Yeah, it's another freezing start, but it's a delightful day. Lots of sunshine. You can see a little ribbon of upper level clouds. It's pretty much all we're going to be dealing with today. Calm conditions, but it's also Friday the 13th. And during the afternoon, Temperatures in the mid to the upper 50s, some of us closing in that 60-degree point. Very similar highs to yesterday, but a lot sunnier skies going to be out and about. So happy Friday the 13th. Hopefully there's nothing too crazy that goes on today. And if you don't have a good Friday the 13th today, well, no worries. You have another chance to do Friday the 13th in March and again in November. 29 degrees. That's going to be our low tonight. And that's really right around when the sun is rising up. This is the coldest by far. Looking at the 10-day forecast, no other temperature even comes close to this. 40 degrees is actually the second coldest in the near term, so we mainly have the 40s and the 50s going forward. Weekend forecast, 64. Your Valentine's Day forecast each day this week literally has gotten better and better. The reason why is more and more sunshine appeared because this system that's going to cover rain for your Sunday has actually been getting slower and slower and slower. So I still think there's a chance there will be some breaks in the rain come Sunday morning, and the Valentine's Day morning, we're talking about wall-to-wall sunshine to most just some upper-level clouds. And then you're going to notice a big change in the cloud cover by the middle of the afternoon. By 2 o'clock, still think partly cloudy skies, 61, and then cloudy skies if you have any, say, later dinner plans, which, by the way, is, I think, the best scenario because clouds during the evening keep you from cooling down that much. So it's actually mild, and so that keeps us in the 50s for most of the evening before we fall down into the 40s. Washout index, we're right in the cusp. So as close as you can come to a washout. I just think there could be a few hours that are going to be the dry variety, some dry air starts to work in. But most of the hours for your Sunday are going to be covered in rain. Check it out. Let me get my head out of the way. This is 1 a.m. seeing signs of rain. This is showing that I think you're still going to have some drier air starting to break this. This is very, very light rain that begins. But then once you get to the latter part of the morning into the early afternoon, let's call it brunch time, that's where the heavier rain is moving in. And these darker greens and these yellows represent up to 1/4 of an inch per hour, and we could see that for multiple hours. This is noon, this is 2 to 3. It's not until the back end of the afternoon we have a little bit of break in the action, and then we'll see that final passage through your Sunday evening. I think by Monday morning, everything is past and gone. It's just going to be a damp start, and we're above freezing, so not a chance for any black ice or anything. Most of the rain totals are starting to have a consensus. We're going to see them all over the place. I think we have a bottom line of at least 1 inch of rain, which is huge, and an upper bound of about 2 inches, so 1 to 2 inches of rain when all is said and done, and boy do we need it. And much of the southeast that's under a variety of drought alerts is seeing some much needed rain. We just need to do this several more times over the next couple of months, actually more like a dozen times. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast shows that Sunday is the bottom. After that, not a bad President's Day. Temperature still above normal in the lower 60s, lower to the mid 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. And we're staying above average for the following Friday as well. So enjoy it. Happy early Valentine's Day and happy traffic morning with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. We're heading into a beautiful start to our Friday. That's always a nice way to kick off the day. Sunny skies, grab the jacket, grab the sunglasses, and take it easy out there. This is what I-77 looks like right now. If you are driving in York County, maybe heading up towards Mecklenburg County, nothing too out of the ordinary. Once we switch it over to my map, I want to show you what I-77 looks like if you're going to be coming in from Lake Norman, out near Cornelius, Huntersville. Little bit of yellow, but hey, at least we don't have red. No stop and go traffic at this time. Off to the west, this is out there in Gaston County. This is a newer accident. It's on New Hope Road near Court Drive. Seeing a little bit of yellow developing with that, so probably some minor delays. And then right around Uptown, of course, I-77 is going to be a busy one, but no accidents to report there. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up soon.
Majestic thanks as the FBI combs through tips given to help find Nancy Guthrie. It's important they acknowledge every single one. We'll tell you why. Up next. 7:41 right now on WCNC Plus, and our Olympic coverage continues this morning. Team USA continuing to climb that medal count in Italy. After some exciting competition yesterday, the nation now tied with Norway with a total of 14 medals.
Anne-Marie Tiernan is back this morning, joining us live from Milan. And Anne-Marie, speaking of recent wins in the women's snowboarding, Chloe Kim brought home the silver in the half pipe, which was an interesting one there. Tell us more about what's going on with Chloe.
Yeah, so Chloe, you know, all the buzz going up into the competition is she has the opportunity to have a three-peat in gold. So it's the best score of 3 runs. So she went out, she scored 88 on the first run, and then she crashed the next 2. So the South Korea girl, who is Choi Gaon, who is somebody that Chloe has been mentoring, went out, crashed first time, crashed second time, third time, scored in the 90s. It was enough for her to get the gold. Chloe Kim was happy about it. She has been mentoring this young girl from South Korea, and she even said, you know what, when I won my first gold, I was 17. And so this is the next generation. She said, there's no one I would rather be standing up next to more than her. So Chloe Kim, 25 years old, the veteran here. She's had her boyfriend here, who's an NFL player from the Cleveland Browns, very, very popular Hall of Famer. And so with Myles Garrett being out there taking photos of her, coming up with a hoodie, wearing her picture on it, she's having the time. She also shared that, you know, she has that shoulder injury that now when things wrap up here, when she goes back to the States, she's going to the OR. She is going to require surgery to get that fixed. But she's been competing with that injured shoulder here at the games.
Oh, amazing. What should we look forward to as far as action today?
Well, so women's hockey is a big one. It's win or go home. We're at that point of the tournament. The ladies are taking on Italy. So, you know, it's interesting because Italy's not necessarily a powerhouse in women's hockey, but you know, this is the ticket here. We're in Milan, so this is a home court, home ice kind of situation. So that's going to be a big event here today. If you want to watch that in Charlotte, that's at 3:10 Eastern time. And then earlier before that at 1 p.m. Eastern, if you want to watch it live, Ilya Malinin, the quad god, he is favored for gold. The combination of 2 events, this is the second event after the first one, he's leading by 5 points. 5 points is a lot in this sport. So he doesn't really need to go out there necessarily and take any big risks and throw in a higher technical thing or throw in another quad. But he might just do it, you know? Maybe he's like, why not? I can do it. I want to show it off. We will see. That's something that everyone's looking to. It's going to be a game time decision when he takes that skate today. Place on the podium for sure. Likely gold for Ilya Malinin from Virginia.
I mean, 5 points ahead. He might just go for that quad axle.
Yeah, our meteorologist Chris asked if he's named Quad God because he has good quads. We said, you know what? No, but he probably does have good quads. Knowing that he can do that, probably so. All right. Anne-Marie Tiernan reporting live for us this morning in Milan. Anne-Marie, thank you. Appreciate it as always. All right, 7:44 right now. Tributes pouring in around the entertainment world and in southeastern North Carolina after the death of actor James Vanderbeek, who played Dawson Leary in TV's drama Dawson's Creek. The actor's death hit close to home for those in Wilmington, including the manager of one downtown restaurant called Hell's Kitchen. The restaurant started on the set of Dawson's Creek and has stayed open for more than 20 years.
And we get a lot of people from all over, some from internationally coming here to check out the bar, check out the you know, what's going on with the merchandise and with all the memorabilia and such.
The 48-year-old Vanderbeek died Wednesday this week of colon cancer.
7:45 now. The FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department says it's received and are sifting through thousands of tips in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Even the smallest bit of possible evidence in this case could lead to a potential breakthrough. CNN's Randy Kay takes a look back at the determined effort from police to crack some of the toughest cases.
November 13th, 2022, 4 college friends found dead in the home they shared in Idaho. For weeks, investigators searched for answers.
We cannot say that there's no threat to the community.
Then came the big break in the case. A knife sheath found next to one of the victims' bodies contained DNA from a single male. They'd already tracked suspect Brian Koberger's car near the crime scene using surveillance footage. A search at the family's home turned up DNA on a Q-tip belonging to his father, who turned out to be a match as the father of the person whose DNA was found on that knife sheath. Investigators had their killer. Koberger was arrested across the country in Pennsylvania.
We are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil.
Before his trial started, Koberger pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison. In December last year, after someone shot 11 students at Brown University, killing 2, and then killed an MIT professor, authorities came up empty-handed. Then suddenly, a big break.
It was really a critical turning point. And this was an individual who stepped up and stepped forward for all the right reasons.
That individual, after seeing the surveillance video, posted a tip on Reddit about interacting with the suspect and seeing his car before the shooting. The post read in part, "I'm being dead serious. The police need to look into a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental." The man directed police to his Reddit post.
It's sort of an amazing sequence of events.
Police tracked the car to the rental agency, according to the affidavit, which shared the renter's name, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente.
Please cancel the earlier Volvo for the gray Nissan Sentra. SV wanted in connection with a homicide. The vehicle has been located in Salem, New Hampshire.
They found the suspect and his car abandoned at a storage facility. Police said he'd taken his own life. In May 2015, a grisly discovery at a Washington, D.C. mansion. A couple, their 10-year-old son, and housekeeper all found dead. The mansion set on fire.
The fire appears to be intentionally set.
The suspect left something behind that was key to identifying him.
We're so glad to finally get him off the street.
Police found DNA on a piece of pizza crust left behind by the suspect. Darren Dellin Dennis Wint was arrested a week after the murders in Maryland. In 2018, he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences. In February 2005, Dennis Rader, known as the BTK killer, was arrested in Kansas. He was accused of killing 10 people between 1974 and 1991. After dodging investigators for decades, Rader sent a computer disk to the media, which police traced back to the church where Rader volunteered.
The bottom line, BTK is arrested.
Rader was arrested in February 2005. He confessed to the crimes and was sentenced to life in prison. Randy Kay, CNN.
Wow, look at how tall that is. It's gonna rain for sure. We have widespread rain most hours of your Sunday. Outside of that, we don't really have a lot. We're gonna be talking about the weekend rain, the pollen impacts, and we'll briefly comb over the drought status and how much we need coming up. All right, everybody. So I've been mentioning this on and off throughout the week, just letting you know that those pollen and those allergens are really starting to come up a little bit. Now, it's really been over the last, I would say, probably 5 days that we've started to see a little bit of a spike. And that was primarily just because, hey, we started to get warmer. All of a sudden, Mother Nature is like, oh, something's coming. So here's what we've really been seeing since January 12th. It was just very low end, but now we've been dancing in that low to medium high range, getting very close to that moderate threshold. And eventually, you're going to be dancing around that high range before you know it. So here is a brief look at what tree pollen historically does here in the Carolinas by March. So we're literally only talking about a couple of weeks from now. We are hanging out in that moderate threshold, and then by April, we're pretty much anywhere from high to extreme levels. It's at that point that pretty much everything is covered in some of the yellow stuff. Now, one thing that does stunt the amount of pollen is going to be the drought status, and this is now getting to emergency status just because we desperately need the rain. So the rain that's come this weekend couldn't have come soon enough. Since the stats that we've been dropping is the last time Mecklenburg County had an extreme drought connotation for any part of its county was back in 2008. The last time that we even had a extreme drought in North Carolina was back in 2016. So it has been a while since we've had anything like this. And breaking down the numbers a little bit more, whenever you have a moderate drought, that is technically known as you're under a drought. The dry status is just like, hey, it's super dry. If it's during the growing season, you can say, okay, we have a brown lawn. But the fact that the severe numbers are going up and now extreme levels are starting to work their way in, we need to do something about it. Now, there's only so much that we can do. We just have to really just pray for the rain. I showed you the amount of rain that we technically needed, but I dug a little bit deeper. You can also break this down by percentage. So the chance that we get 9 to 11 inches, which we need to overcome the drought for the Charlotte area, is 0.6% over the next month, and just around 5% over the next 3 months. So that means hope is really not in our favor. The only ones, the mountains has a 23% chance of even trying to get up the threshold that we need to try to overcome this drought. So it's really reaching that emergency status that we need to get at least just back to the moderate drought to the dry conditions, not as widespread as we've been seeing. So a closer look at that to end the drought completely. I mean, even remove it from D0, which is abnormally dry. We need 16 to 18 inches of rain. Here's the problem. To do this, you need some heavy rains at times, which could lead to some flooding. So we almost need pain as far as flooding goes to try to get this, but truly you need those really consistent light rains that fall for most of the day or even light to moderate. Well, the good news I have for you, that is happening because that's exactly what's happening this weekend. Check it out. Widespread rain rolls in starting in the morning, continuing most of the day, and then done heading into your Monday. We just need to do this probably about 12 times and then we'll be fine. All right, let's get right over to Majestic for morning commute status.
Good morning. Let's look at a couple of minor ongoing accidents right now. This one here is out there in Gaston County, seeing a little bit of yellow with it. It's on New Hope Road near Court Drive. Not seeing major delays with that one. Once we hop over to the east, this is a newer one. It's the plaza at Milton Road. There's an accident right there in the intersection. And then the third one to let you know about is here on Wilkinson Boulevard east of Morrisfield Drive. Those are 3 things to know before you go.
All right, live pictures right now over uptown Charlotte as the sun comes up on a Friday morning. Looking forward to the weekend. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Hey there, look at that, blue sky. We've warmed up 2 degrees over the last hour. We were at the 32, now we're at the 34 degrees, and guess what? High temperature is going to be zooming right around 60 degrees into the upper 50s. Similar to yesterday, but it's going to be a lot sunnier for today, for your Friday the 13th. Tonight, the coldest morning that we have, 29 degrees. Valentine's Day looking lovely. Everything lovely for Love Day. 64 degrees with increasing clouds late day, but then Sunday, 52 degrees. Check this out. Rain starts to arrive early morning, and then there will be a few breaks, but by mid to late morning, we're talking about heavier pockets of rain that start to work their way in, and then it pretty much falls for most of the day. So it's a great lazy Sunday if you can have one. Then we're back to the 60s on Monday, and yep, the 70s are here before you know it. 72 on Wednesday, 75 Thursday. All right, Majestic, you got some accidents on the map. What's going on?
Good morning, everyone. It is a busy start to the day. Let's get straight to it as we're heading out the door. I-77, this is coming in from York County. It is gorgeous for our Friday morning. I'm following all of these accidents this morning on WCNC Plus, but this one here, it's one of our newer crashes. It's here on Albemarle Road near East Independence Boulevard. We do have some slow-moving traffic because of that ongoing crash. Make sure you take it nice and easy, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington.
We continue to follow that breaking news out of Orangeburg, South Carolina. 2 people dead, another injured following a shooting at South Carolina State University. In the last hour, we've learned the lockdown on campus has now been lifted.
Officials have not yet confirmed the victims' identities or the condition of the person injured. The university says it happened last night in an apartment at the Eugenie Suites student residential complex. Shortly after reports of that shooting, the campus went on lockdown. It was around 9:15 last night. Officials have canceled classes for today. Counselors, though, will be available for students.
Right now, there's no word on a suspect, but state law enforcement is now helping in that investigation. The shooting marks 3 deaths so far this school year following a deadly shooting during homecoming. This morning, more than a dozen elementary school students are recovering after their bus crashed in Gastonia on their way home from school. A total of 48 kids were on the bus when it crashed near Jenkins Road Thursday. Police say the bus was taking students home from Bessemer City Primary and Bessemer City Central Elementary when it went off the road and landed in the woods. We spoke to neighbors who came out to see what was a frightening scene.
I heard the loud noise down there, and then I heard a bunch of kids screaming. And there was this one little girl, she was, just screaming for her mom.
14 students were taken to the hospital but suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Police say one child has a broken arm. Neighbors hope this crash leads to changes that will make that road safer.
A community in Cleveland County is mourning after a Crest High School student died in a crash. Today, the school is allowing students to meet with counselors and support staff. In a Facebook post shared last night, Crest High School says that a student died in a single car accident. The student hasn't been identified. We're working to learn more about what led up to that crash. When we find out, we'll pass along that information to you. And as the death toll on our roads continues to climb, an advocacy group is calling for some tougher consequences and a proposed change to Arena's law, which tightens sentencing and release rules surrounding violent crimes. That's putting at the center of its fight.
Well, WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live. And Richard, this would take a law designed to address violent criminals and then address people who instead might just be reckless on the road.
Yeah, that's correct, Ben. It would boil down to one word, the word intent. But the organization says basically the reason they're bringing this up is because they want to make it safer, even safer for folks who want to bike or walk or jog on our roads here in North Carolina. Now, while the numbers of crashes have actually gone down, the number of fatalities on our roads keeps going up. Now, a safety advocacy group is calling for tougher consequences, arguing that Arena's law should be applied when extreme recklessness behind the wheel leads to someone's death. New data from Charlotte's Vision Zero initiative shows that deadly crashes and serious injuries are rising. Last year, 81 people killed on Charlotte roads. That's up 9% from last year. Bike Walk North Carolina says reckless driving is a form of violence, and they believe Arena's law should apply in deadly car crash cases, I should say. The law passed after Arena's law was passed after a fatal stabbing on the Blue Line, and it eliminates cashless bail for certain violent offenses and requires a judge, not a magistrate, to set a bond when someone commits such a crime on our transit system. Supporters argue felony death by vehicle is comparable to other serious felonies that are already covered by the law. Now, one lawyer says that it all boils down to intent. Take a listen.
What Arena's law does is take certain crimes that are inherently violent and that require violence as an element of the crime, not just the outcome, but as an element of the crime, which goes to intent, which goes to how the crime is actually carried out. So what Arena's law does is say, here are these violent crimes that are inherently violent. We're going to treat them in this way.
And that might make it a lot harder to have it apply to folks behind the wheel who are driving recklessly or violent, because you can't determine that, according to some attorneys. We're right here on South Boulevard. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you, and happy Valentine's Day weekend.
And to you as well, Richard. This morning, we are waiting to learn whether a Gastonia student will face disciplinary action after a bomb threat at a local high school. Police responded to Hunter Huss High School yesterday, shortly after the school day started. They say a threat was found written on a bathroom wall. Investigators also looked into a suspicious package nearby. Officers quickly identified the student involved and say the threat was a hoax and nobody was hurt.
Take a look at your screen right now. An urgent search is underway for a missing teen in Lancaster. 15-year-old Aaron Jeter was last seen Wednesday night on Glenwood Avenue. It was around 11 p.m. If you have any information where he could be, call the Lancaster Police Department. That phone number is on your screen. 8:05 now. Let's check back in with Chris to find out more about our forecast. And Chris, you're talking about a fire danger, yes?
Oh, no, that was just something I was working on. Eventually, I'm going to be talking about the drought stats leading to fire danger. So, yes, eventually. But for right now, we are looking at beautiful sunny skies. Check it out. Not a cloud in the sky over here in Dallas. Charlotte, we have mostly clear skies. And our tower camera showed that we are calm, we are clearly cool, 34 degrees, and that's eventually going to be warming up nicely. So Friday the 13th, nothing spooky about the weather. 58 degrees right around 4 p.m., and I do think that some of us will just pop up barely touching that 60-degree point. So still feeling pretty good. Yesterday, was a decent afternoon, especially when that sun is shining. Well, we have the sun shining all day long. I'll continue to remind you that, hey, allergy sufferers, if you're very sensitive, you probably already know this, but Elm and Junipero continue to pop. These will go down actually over the next few days as we start to introduce a little bit of rain, but they will start to come back up again, especially we see temperatures surging back into the 70s later next week. Over the next 4 mornings, we are freezing tomorrow, and then we're taking a big old break. We're not going to see another freezing low for at least the next 10 to 14 days. At that point, there could be another little bit of a drop down that we're seeing for the extended forecast. But you notice that 45 is going to be our low on Sunday. That's also going to be rain driven. So let's get right to your weekend forecast. Your Valentine's forecast looking A-OK. We're starting off right around freezing, sunshine around 8. And then we have partly cloudy skies turning overcast by the evening, which isn't really going to affect anything, but the rain's holding off. There was a slight chance for rain during the evening. Don't worry about it. You're good. I think that rain is actually continuing to take its time. That the only reason why I don't have this maxed out to a washout is I think there could be some breaks in the rain in the morning and again later in the afternoon. But what I'm about to show you is a lot of rain and a lot of day. So check it out. So for your Sunday specifically, on the 1 to 5 o'clock time frame, that's where rain first starts to roll back in. I think it really starts to pick up by about mid to late morning. That's where we introduce some of these greens and darker greens and the yellows, representing up to about a 1/4 inch of rain. The heaviest rain, I think, is really from brunch time to about the middle of the afternoon. We'll hit a little bit of dry air. You notice this little nose that starts to jump in around Spartanburg between about 3, 5 to 6, and then the last ditch after the last hurrah. And there is a slight chance that the mountaintops could have a quick change over to some really wet snowflakes associated with this. But how much rain is this going to be? Our most trusty model is calling for pretty much 1 inch to 2 inches across the area, so some much needed rainfall for sure. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast has this cloudy, cold, wet day on Sunday, so a bunch of superlatives to end the weekend. And then after that, a nice warm up, the 70s, and I even have the mid 70s lasting through next Friday. So some warmer hope continues. All right, Majestic, what are those icons representing?
We have multiple minor ongoing wrecks. Let's get straight to it. A handful of them as we are heading over to the south. This is going to be one of the newest accidents. It's south of Uptown. It's on Arrowwood Road at Forest Point Boulevard. You see that orange and yellow there? That means we do have slow-moving traffic around it as they are continuing to clear it. Again, not on I-77 though. And then this here, much of the same, minimal impacts. It's on Albemarle Road and near East Independence Boulevard. So that's our second crash. The third one here has been ongoing for over 30 minutes. We have all grain surrounding it, so likely it's off to the side. It's at the plaza at Milton Road. And then finally, this one here out in Gaston County. Good morning to everyone. This looks like it's near I-85. It's near it, but it's not on it. It's on New Hope Road near Court Drive, where we do have delays coming in all directions. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. Before we head to break, here is an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that we've tested and that we love, and boy, what an amazing deal we have for you today. Let me introduce you to the Mirage Gala Series 3-piece luggage set. Normally, this would cost you about $450. Today, though, you're getting a deal for $149.99. That's 67% off. That's a huge deal. Let me tell you why it's a good deal. Check out the luggage itself. First, hard shell cover, extremely durable. On top of that, very, very lightweight. Then you have these great hooks on the side, like you're leaving the airport, you need a place for your umbrella or your bag or what have you. Great here. You have a TSA lock back here, strong handles, an adjustable handle here in the back with 3 different heights. But here's the real winning feature. Check out these wheels, 4 360-degree wheels. You practically will glide through the airport. It's so mobile, so easy to use. Then here on the inside, check it out. You have these cross straps right here on this side, keeping things neat and organized. And then the zipper component on this side doing the same thing. Keep everything nice, tight, and organized. Plus this big pocket giving you even more capacity. And again, can't beat the deal. 67% off. All of this for $149.99. Basically, 3 bags for the price of 1. Check out the QR code there or go to ShopTVDeals.com.
14 now. For the first time since the dot-com bust more than 20 years ago, University of California schools say the number of undergraduates majoring in computer science has declined. Experts say part of the reason is that many entry-level coding jobs are gone. They've been replaced by AI. However, a computer science degree isn't the only path to a tech job. College counselors say they are seeing more diversity in what young people are studying, and AI companies report hiring students who have a diversity of skills.
You know, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is that parents and students are scared and they're running. There's more of a flight to safety. So within the engineering major, instead of computer science, they're starting to think, oh, mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, those jobs might be safer.
As tech companies change and adjust to AI, experts say college students should as well. Examples include data analysis, robotics, and other jobs needed in the AI era.
Some say that no group is adopting AI technology faster than young folks. But what impact can it have on their mental health and on their developing minds? Chris Glorioso reports.
You choose the algorithm, assign it to your model, and now you can actually train the model.
At this small private school in New Rochelle, New York, they are going all in on AI.
You're setting the model equal to the algorithm.
AI is not going to go anywhere. We have to embrace it, and we have to teach our students how to use it wisely.
Virginia Miller is headmaster of the Thornton Donovan School, a K-12 institution that just announced artificial intelligence will be infused into the entire school's curriculum during the 26-27 school year. That means every student and every teacher will use it.
We can use AI to make better students. They're not going to replace teachers.
I think AI is great at being sort of an at-home tutor.
They're taking data from data sets and they're responding to prompts that you give them.
I personally use it for notes and organization.
Students here and across the country are already experimenting with AI. But how will AI chatbots impact learning? And more broadly, how might chatbots impact childhood?
As their brains are developing, we want to make sure that they have healthy inputs.
In an exclusive survey of the American Psychiatric Association, NBC asked more than 2,000 psychiatrists about AI's potential to change the developing brain. Their responses conveyed profound concern. More than 86% predicted the use of AI among children and teens would tend to inhibit brain development by replacing human interactions with lower quality synthetic socialization. And yet, despite concerns about screen time, not all the psychiatrists were pessimistic about AI. In that survey, about 60% said some children will benefit because AI platforms can tailor lessons to the individual needs of students.
You can have students that maybe have something that holds them back, but with the help of AI, maybe they can become the scientists they want to, but they can't do the formulas so well. The possibilities with AI is just endless.
Back at the Thornton Donovan School, teachers and administrators say they plan to use artificial intelligence intelligently, teaching even the youngest kids to think critically about chatbots and their output. They're even planning a school trip to Silicon Valley. These students, not afraid AI will eliminate their future careers, they expect AI skills will guarantee them a future paycheck.
I think that we shouldn't view it as AI is going to take over jobs. I think AI will only help you do your job better.
Well, AI is driving an unprecedented boom in data centers, and with it, a political fight over who should pay for the massive amount of electricity that it consumes. These AI-powered facilities require so much energy that some draw more than small cities, raising fears that everyday ratepayers will shoulder the costs. States are now scrambling to regulate data centers, warning that AI's explosive growth is outpacing the grid's ability to keep up, something the town of Canton, North Carolina just dealt with this week, passing a temporary ban on data centers. U.S. stocks fell Thursday as investors dumped companies seen as vulnerable to the rise of AI. Analysts say the rush to build AI systems is driving up costs across the tech sector, including higher prices for key components like computer memory. There are growing questions about whether massive AI spending will actually deliver enough profit to justify the investment.
Today in Black history, a Harlem team changed the future of Black basketball. We're going to tell you about the team and its legacy next.
Well, good morning to you. Temperatures are rocking right around 34 degrees right now. For the means the rest of the morning will be 34 to 47. Hopefully it is not a morning of mayhem. I was just joking because it's Friday the 13th. I truly wish everyone has a wonderful day. And there are no afternoon antics unless they are fun antics, and you're getting ready for a wonderful weekend. Sunshine galore. I think pretty much you have wall-to-wall sunshine. It's going to be a really good looking forecast. So no weather impacts in the short term. But the big story we're talking about is this drought status. This is crazy how little rain that we've realistically seen over the last several months, and really it's over almost the last 12 months how little it's been. But especially in the near term, since we see multiple below average months, well, there's actually been only 2 that have been above normal over the last 12. Here it is. That was back in 2025, May and August had an inch plus and over 3 inches of August. August was a very wet month, but other than that, it's been below normal by anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. November was brutal, and that's what really kickstarted our drought, and we have not had any relief since. So yes, we are going to see some signs that things are going to improve, but looking at the data, our chances are not heading in a good direction. We need 9 to 11 inches over the next month, which I highly do not recommend, and then 16 to 18 inches for us to end this drought completely, and that would bring us into really the middle of spring. So we desperately need the rain at this point. Thank goodness we're starting to kick things into gear this coming Sunday. And I was looking at some other stats that the Monroe Airport, the last time you had over a ½ inch of rain a given day, 109 days ago. So that's also another reason why you are very much right in the midst of that spot of red that is representing an extreme drought status. Also Mecklenburg County's first time we've done that in about 17.5 years. Our futurecast rainfall, 1.5 inches. I think that's going to be the norm. I'm calling for 1 to 2 inches across the area, but this is still a very slow rain because this is all hours of the day. We're not going weather alert just because this is just a rainy day. And honestly, it's Sunday. No reason to be out if you don't need to. It's not saying that's super dangerous. I'm just trying to give you some time off, y'all, because this isn't a pretty day. When it's raining all day and it's still at least warmer than we have been, rain in the 50s, this is perfect for staying in, spending some time with the family, binge watching, snacking, doing whatever, or maybe you want to be productive and work out, but I'm going to do the first suggestion I just brought up. Notice the clock is moving, but the rain is really just staying the same. It's completely covering. I do think that there is going to be a little lax in the action once you complete the afternoon, but I'm scrolling through Sunday. There are more wet hours than dry that I think pretty much about at least 20 of the 24 hours on Sunday are going to have some sort of measurable rainfall. That's how much rain is going to come along with this. After that, we don't really have too many rain chances to get along to. Here, I'll just jump to our 7-day forecast. You can see a drop to the 50s before we surge back to the 70s to end the week. Enjoy the rain and happy Valentine's Day, everyone. All right, let's get over to Majestic to see how things are rolling this morning.
A handful of ongoing wrecks right now. Let's get straight to it. Let's talk about the most important thing. This is going to be south of Uptown. It's right here as we switch it over to my map. You can see we already have lots of different colors popping up. Medics are responding to this crash right here. We'll start with this. It's an accident. 2 left lanes are currently blocked because of it. I-77 if you're heading southbound at Arrowwood Road, that's exit 3. We do have impacts all the way to Nations Ford Road, so about 1 mile to 1.5 miles right now of stop and go traffic. Just downstream though, not too far away, this is here on Arrowwood Road at Forest Point Boulevard where we have that secondary crash, but I do like to see a lot of green around it. And then once we head east of Uptown, this is not on Independence, but it's really close to it. It's mainly on Albemarle Road, right east of Independence, where a new crash was just reported. And hey, if you are taking Sunset Road at I-77, this is a new accident that's also showing slow-moving conditions, but it's not at a stop and go right now. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. On this day in Black history, back in 1923, the New York Renaissance basketball team was formed in Harlem, becoming the first all-black professional team in the sport. Created by Robert L. Douglas, the Wrens gave black athletes chances to compete at a time when they were barred from professional leagues. The team traveled the country, often facing all-white opponents, and quickly became one of the most dominant forces in basketball. Decades later, the Wrens and their players were inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. 8:25 now. We need to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep it right here, streaming live on WCNC+.
Here we go. 34 degrees. We're up 2 from our low this morning. 30 right around Statesville, and it's a beautiful day so far, and it will be a beautiful, hopefully mayhemless Friday the 13th, but still through the rest of the morning, temperature warming up to 47 and anywhere from really 50 to 60 for any afternoon antics on not this holiday, but this day of superstition. The cold this morning that we're going to have going forward will be tomorrow, and then after day 10 to 14, we could start to head back to this cooler direction. 64, great for your Valentine's Day, and then Sunday, 52 degrees. Just letting you know, tomorrow, Valentine's Day, whatever you're doing, temperatures are going to be warming back up through the 60s with more clouds to end the day, and then Sunday, really shaping up to be more of a Napometer type of forecast because of the widespread rain that we are anticipating, up to about 1 to 2 inches when all is said and done. 7-day forecast showing the 60s turning the 70s next week. All right, Majestic, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. We have a handful of accidents that I'm continuing to follow for you on WCNC Plus, but one of the most important things that you need to know before you head out the door is this crash right here. It's south of Uptown. Medics are responding to it. We have very slow-moving traffic because of it. 2 left lanes are blocked. I-77 south at Arrowwood Road. We are seeing those delays back towards Nations Ford.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson.
With thousands of people moving to Charlotte each year, leaders are finalizing a plan to keep people and traffic moving into the future.
It is called the 2055 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and today Charlotte residents have the chance to weigh in. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in East Charlotte, breaking down what's inside that plan. Destiny.
Yeah, you'll find interchange improvements, road expansions, things like that. And this is all to help keep people moving, like you said, across the Charlotte region. And this plan is now in its final phase. So that means people have a final chance to weigh in before it goes to a vote next month. Now, the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization, or CRTPO, is wrapping up its 2055 MTP. This is a federally required plan updated every 4 years, and it maps out which road, transit, and mobility projects could be built through the year 2055. The plan covers Mecklenburg and Iredell counties, plus the western and central urban portions of Union County, and includes 166 projects. From things like interchange improvements on I-85 in Mecklenburg County to widening US 74 in Union County, leaders say this final phase is about reviewing the draft plan and how all the listed projects were prioritized using realistic federal, state, and local funding.
This phase of the process isn't really meant for people to recommend projects or give feedback on the projects themselves, but more on the complete product of the plan and the process by which we arrived at this point. There's still opportunities for projects to go up and down the priority list until 2055 and beyond.
Yeah, phase 2 was for giving feedback on what projects people wanted to see. Now is the time to weigh in on the plan itself. Here at Hickory Grove Library, this is where they'll have the final pop-up event for you to come in person, ask questions, give your feedback from 12:30 to 2:30 this afternoon. And then there's a survey that's been online for a while, and it's through February 17th that you can give your feedback there and view the draft plan there as well. And for any more questions that you have about this plan, we have all the information you need to know on this story on the WCNC News app. I'll send it back to you guys live here from East Charlotte.
It affects all of us. All right, Destiny, thanks. A Kannapolis church has parted ways with its pastor after allegations of a sexual nature came to light. The Charity Baptist Church says it happened before Marty Payton began leading the congregation and did not involve anybody at the church. As of right now, it's unclear what those allegations are. We did do a civil and criminal search of court records, and we didn't find anything related to it. You can read the church's statement in full inside the WCNC Charlotte app. President Trump and the First Lady will visit Fort Bragg in Fayetteville today. The president will meet with military families and members of the special forces who took part in that operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The president is a regular visitor here in North Carolina, last year in December when he was in Rocky Mount.
North Carolina Senate candidates Michael Whatley and former Governor Roy Cooper are on the campaign trail. The candidates cast their primary votes yesterday. Whatley in Gastonia and Cooper in Raleigh. The two spoke after voting.
I'm the candidate, the only candidate in this race who spent a career prosecuting violent criminals and keeping thousands of them behind bars when I was Attorney General and as governor.
I think the voters of North Carolina have made it very clear over the last several election cycles that they want a conservative champion. They want somebody who is going to fight for economic policies that will create jobs, that will raise wages, that will lower costs.
Political experts have said this could be one of the most expensive and competitive races of the midterm elections.
With the Winter Olympics underway in Italy, Governor Josh Stein celebrated North Carolina's ski industry here at home. For more than 60 years now, the state's been recognized as the winter capital of the South, offering the highest elevation skiing in the eastern part of the country and welcoming hundreds of thousands of visitors every single year. So today and tomorrow, the governor is going to visit App Ski Mountain, Beach Mountain, and Sugar Mountain. Make sure to download the WCNC app. We'll bring you live coverage of today's event at App Ski Mountain. 8:34 right now. Turning back to your forecast right now with Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Sunshine, we got it on our shoulders, lots of blue sky, 34 degrees. So our temperatures are up about 2 compared to where we just were, but today is going to be a good one. Enjoy the sunshine. Yes, it is a Friday the 13th, but don't let that bother you. Probably didn't even know until I brought it up, my big mouth. 47 degrees by the end of the morning, and then we have a mix of the 50s. I think some of us will touch that 60-degree point, but still very similar highs to yesterday, but sunshine pretty much across the board. The bottom line, tomorrow it looks to be the coldest morning that we are going to have over the next several days, and Valentine's not looking too bad. 64 degrees before we have 52 tick over, so it's all going to be roses and sweet candy going forward. Temperatures in the lower 60s, and looking forward, I don't really see the rain that's going to be moving in for your Valentine's, so I think all is going to be well there. So say if you're going to be going out for your Valentine's evening, I think things are going to remain dry for you. For example, say if you're going to be going out for a lovely dinner, likely eating inside, I don't see any big issues here. I actually think that we're going to just see some clouds that start to filter in, and then eventually those temperatures are going to wind on down. So just really keep that in mind. Overall, looking like a pretty decent evening. Now, Sunday, not a great day. What's going to happen is those clouds increase and then the rain takes over. So it's a perfect napping environment. As I mentioned, I am just subtly trying to suggest that JT eats snacks and maybe watch movies so we can chill for the day. But we'll see how that goes. Definitely not going to be a playground-worthy type of day because lots and lots of rain throughout the day. And as far as how much rain that we're going to see, there's a lot of numbers that are about to pop up on your screen. But plain and simple, I think that we're going to see at least an inch of rain. But, oh, of course, I say lots of numbers and the data falls out. Okay, I think that you're going to see at least an inch of rain. But I'm calling for 1 to 2 or an inch and a half is now starting to be the basis and the bottom line for rain. So yeah, this is pretty much going to be a washout type of day. There will be a few breaks perchance in the morning, and then the end of the afternoon as dry air starts to work its way through. But hey, that's splitting hairs here. A majority, I'm talking about 80 to 90% of the day is going to have rain. The driest part is probably closer to midnight to the early morning hours when the sun's rising up. I think that we have some light rain mixing in, and then it turns light to moderate, even some periods of some heavier rain. This is the time that you definitely don't want to be out. Not going to be a pleasant one whatsoever, especially because it's going to be a colder rain right around 50 degrees. A little bit of break, as you can see here. The back end starts sliding, even a chance for some wet snowflakes to mix in at the highest elevations above 4,000 feet. And then by about 9 to midnight, I think we see the final passage. So just a damp road as those kids, actually, the kids have no school on Monday. So good news there. So it's just going to be a damp start if you're heading back to work on Monday. As for that extended forecast, that's the coolest day. That's the wettest day. So a lot of superlatives for your Sunday, maybe not the best reasons, but it's how you take advantage of it. Also the laziest day. And then temperatures on the rise. We are back to the lower to the mid 70s. So it's nice to see that. We actually have 3 straight days that are in the low to mid 70s. So enjoy it. All right, Majestic has a lot of boxes. What do they mean? Here we go.
Not the best of news. Lots going on as you're heading out the door for your Friday morning commute. Let's talk about a few of the most important things as we're looking at your traffic report. Heading south of Uptown, it's going to be right here. We have 2 back-to-back crashes. This is the one, though, that medics did respond to, and they did confirm that one person did have some minor injuries. There's an accident. 2 lanes are going to be closed because of it. It's on I-77 southbound at Arrowwood Road. That is backed up about 1 mile to Nations Ford Road. This secondary crash is really close by. Again, Arrowwood at Forest Point Boulevard. We have yellow coming in all directions, so that could just slow you down a few extra minutes. Heading off to the east of Uptown now. This is on Albemarle Road near East Independence. I'm seeing some nice clearing. Earlier it was yellow and orange, and now we have mainly green, so that's also likely being cleared. And then this here, Sunset Road at I-77, we do have some backups because of a crash that just happened about 10 minutes ago. Guys.
Majestic, thanks.
One of the world's most famous roses was created right here in America. We'll tell you the story behind the knockout rose next.
Well, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and you know what? Financial infidelity, a topic of concern for a lot of couples out there.
A recent survey by Bankrate revealed that 45% of people do not know everything about their partner's finances, which can impact relationship health. Reporter Deanna Dewberry takes a look.
To talk to folks from almost every sector of society, there are few better places than Costco.
If you love me, you love my debt.
Perhaps, but 1 in 4 folks surveyed by Bankrate admit to hiding debt, expenses, or income from their partner, and that number is likely conservative.
I think there's a lot more of financial cheating than people admit to.
But Chuck's no cheater. Sue's hubby of 45 years. Are you always honest with Sue about money?
I am, yeah. I always tell her what I got.
Not so with Peter James.
My wife has her account. We have a joint account, and I have mine. And so what I do with my money is my business, and what she does with her money is her business.
And that's worked for him and his wife for 46 years. It's actually a healthy approach to money management, according to Bankrate's principal analyst, Ted Rossman.
Maybe you agree that you and your spouse each have some money that's yours and yours alone, and that's separate from the account that you have for joint bills. That's fine as long as you agree on it.
That's key. 47% of millennials believe cheating with your checkbook is at least as bad as physical cheating.
I would say it's very similar in like overall severity, but I feel like it's not as much of a hard stop.
So how long have you guys been together?
7 years almost.
Almost 7 years.
7 years.
We're actually getting married on Valentine's Day.
Oh
Literally
my
4 days from now.
Oh, that's so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, yeah.
Both are 30, and the young couple has also coupled their finances.
Young people are challenging some of the stereotypes here. They're more likely to talk about money early in a relationship.
That's the case with these two millennial lovebirds.
And then people are more open to talk about their salaries with each other at the workplace, and it's kind of opened more conversation on pay equity and all of those things as well.
Financial infidelity is serious, with up to 40% of divorces caused by money issues. Rossman advised couples to check in with each other monthly and not be afraid to seek outside help if necessary. I always sort of feel like transparency.
It's an important conversation.
It's such an important.
Is it uncomfortable? Yes, but you have to do it.
And you have to be comfortable enough sharing your own information and also be accepting.
That's the hard part.
Without judgment of your partners, which is often more difficult. Well, roses are going to be a big gift this weekend, no matter how much they cost. And one of the world's most popular roses emitted right here in the U.S.
Listen to this. At just 9 years old, Wisconsin native Will Radler found a love for planting, not knowing that it would lead him to where he is today. The famous knockout rose, created by Radler, is popular not only for its beauty, but also for its long-lasting blooms and low-maintenance care.
They give a bouquet of rose out, and it lasts for a week, maybe a little bit longer. But if you plant a bush, it can last for years. The original plant of knockout is 30-some years old. It's unlike any rose before it. It blooms more than any other rose. It's self-cleaning, and it blooms later in the season probably than any other rose before it.
The knockout rose, who knew? According to Radler, the series of knockout roses is the most popular series of roses sold in the United States, and they're sold around the world. Well, all over the world, Valentine's Day gifts are taking on new meaning as people turn cash and recycled materials into symbols of love.
Yeah, maybe roses aren't your thing. How about a money bouquet? Made from folded U.S. dollar bills, becoming especially popular, offering a practical twist in a sometimes tough economy. Florists say the trend is booming because the gifts feel both thoughtful and useful. Others are choosing handmade items crafted from recycled scrap metal, turning discarded materials into lasting keepsakes as well. Together, these creative gestures show how love adapts when resources sometimes are limited.
Now, see, that's a good way to start a conversation, right? About money with a money bouquet. Here, honey, let's talk.
How about a money bouquet?
I'm listening.
To kick off this conversation, right? Why not?
Yes.
I like it.
All right, dating app burnout is pushing more singles to ditch the endless swiping and to reconnect offline. We'll tell you how next.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. What to do, where to go this weekend? We're talking about the Urban Air Adventure Park. There are two locations, Trampoline and Adventure Park, located in Mint Hill and another in Cornelius. It's fun for the whole family. They have trampolines, climbing walls, dodgeball, a lot more fun. Plus, pizza, slushies, and ice cream. Here's some of the views from Urban Air, a great place for the entire family. So check it out. Two locations right here in our area, Mint Hill and Cornelius. Urban Air, that's what to do this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Thanks a lot, Larry. So, Brittany does these pieces all the time of sustainability, just the best ways you can pretty much do things that are environmentally sound. And she made this, so I wanted to share this. I thought this is pretty cool. Locally sourced flowers or potted plants is always a best idea. The reason why, the more local it is, of course, the less travel and emissions that there's going to be. Plus, it's always good to support local, right? And Charlotte-based shops and farmer market for sweet treats, I think that is always a great idea as well. I know that there's so many great wholesale flower shops here around town, including one near our station. Just type in flowers near WCNC without me giving away any free marketing. And make your own cards. I have to say, I honestly have done this my entire life. Now, at first, it started I was a child, and I would fold a piece of paper in half and make a custom card. And I'd write in the back, I would always write Mulcahy Card Co. And that's something that I still do for Kim, and it makes it so much more special. But making your own cards can be so much better. And also, it makes it more affordable as well. You can also choose to do it digitally for free. And of course, you know, the chat and some of the other ones can do it for you as well. And experiences is gifts over physical items. We're already in a time that we're trying to declutter as well. And I know that all of us voted experiences or at least quality time, and maybe a side of diamonds as well for some. And secondhand books, thrifted finds, and handmade jewelry is always a fun idea. So ways that you can be more sustainable for your Valentine's Day. But also some of the other stuff is great too. I totally understand that as well. And this is again another gentle reminder, Chris, do not forget to get flowers and other things afterwards, because I totally didn't forget for the fourth time. Temperatures at 34 degrees, lots and lots of sunshine. But going forward this weekend, it's going to be a split difference because your Valentine's Day is truly going to be a special one. I want everyone to enjoy it. There was a lot of time this week. I was saying, it's going to be cloudy, but we'll make the most of it. You have sunshine in the 60s. That's amazing. And then 52, this is also a time that after Valentine's Day, you and yours can just cuddle up on the couch. If you have kids, as they're doing, I'm actively in the bribing process. See how that goes. Then maybe you can just chill because I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those mornings and you wake up on Sunday and you're like, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to lay in my bed. So here is your Valentine's forecast, a little bit more specifics. We start off with sunshine, and then we're going to see a lot more clouds to end. And the look that I just gave you most recently, about 1 to 1.5 inches of rain, I think at least, are going to fall across the area. More simplistic look, I divide this into ranges. So that means that you can now see now a little bit more simplistic here, 1.5 to even 2 inches, I think is going to be the max that we see across the board. But luckily, this is steady throughout the day, so I don't think it's a major flooding concern, but not a pretty day. Back to the 60s and 70s all of next week. All right, Majestic, one more look at traffic here on WCNC Plus.
It is so pretty outside. Even if you're taking a road trip for your Valentine's weekend, it's going to be so pretty across really the Carolinas, right here in the mountains. A little bit of traffic right there, right on King Street and Boone, but not a whole lot. One of those days where you need your sunglasses and a jacket as you're heading out the door. Still following a handful of ongoing concerns. This one here is still not cleared. However, it's a good thing that I no longer see red. That indicates stop and go traffic, but with this yellow here, it's just indicating that the impacts are lessening. Right now, we do know still that 2 left lanes are blocked. That'll be on I-77 South at Arrowwood Road. That's exit 13 backed up to, or exit 3 backed up to exit 4. Just off to the east of that one, still on Arrowwood. This one here is also getting a little bit better. It's there at Forest Point Boulevard. Once we head to the north, this is one of our newer concerns. It's going to be I-85 northbound. It's the off-ramp of I-485, exit 48 specifically. Again, I like to see a lot of green, so likely they already have it cleared off to the shoulder. Those are a few important things that you need to know before you head out the door for your Friday morning commute. We'll have a final check on traffic coming up here soon.
Majestic, thanks. Lots of folks thinking about Valentine's tomorrow and thinking about connection, and not necessarily just a romantic kind. Relationship expert and today's show guest Esther Perel says one of the best ways to open yourself up to new possibilities is by talking to more strangers. So ditch the devices and the apps. Here are some real life opportunities from experts themselves. These aren't my ideas. First, something simple as waiting in line, whether it be at a concert, movies. Everybody's already waiting for the same thing no matter what it is, so that makes starting a conversation all the more natural and easy. Next up, public transportation. Think planes, trains, light rail, streetcar here in Charlotte. You're sitting close to each other for a long-ish stretch of time, which naturally invites conversation. I would say take a hint, though, if the person doesn't seem interested, because you're both sitting there.
Read the room.
You're both sitting there on the blue line, headed through South End, and she's not interested, and you're still sitting there, so just tread lightly. Another idea, grocery stores and markets. Food naturally gives you something to talk about again. That's what a lot of these things have in common, something to talk about, in that first sort of icebreaker. When you're both reaching for the same item or comparing ingredients at that market, it's a low pressure way to start the moment. I don't know what you do after that, after you talk about that salt you just got. What then? Okay, we like the same salt. Also, the gym, asking for help with equipment or chatting before class creates an easy opening connect without interrupting anybody's workout. Keep that in mind. Don't interrupt their workout. Bottom line here, get out there, be respectful of people's time and space and everything like that. And even if you don't meet your next Valentine, you're still going to strengthen those social skills. That's so important nowadays because we're all so digital first. So some things to think about. Lisa.
They don't come knocking at your door.
That's true.
Maybe they do. Maybe it's a delivery driver. Who knows? All right, we got to move on. Taking a quick break, but keep it right here. See, this is all the great stuff you get on WCNC Plus. Coming up at the top of the hour, our Julie Kay, you see her there, is going to be in our Live Impact studio. That's coming up next here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Even though it's the 13th, we still have a beautiful day. Sunshine all day long, right around 60 degrees. Barely a cloud in the sky. Tomorrow, lower to the mid-60s. Sunshine most of the day. That's the nice change. We're picking up more clouds to end the day. So as you're heading out for Valentine's evening, we are looking at a decent increase of clouds. I think it's completely overcast by about 8 o'clock. That's going to keep things mild and around 50 degrees at least, because come Sunday morning, you're waking up to this. Rain pretty much all day long. Maybe a couple of bald spots here and there. It's even going to be heavy at times. This is going to be a colder day as well. Highs only at 52. Rain all day. It's the definition of a lazy Sunday. After that, the 60s and the 70s take over, so much warmer hope, even back-to-back days in the mid-70s Thursday and Friday. All right, one last look at traffic here on WCNC Charlotte.
What a gorgeous start to our Friday morning. Good morning, everyone. It's been busy now that we are getting close to that 9 o'clock hour, even still, following a handful of ongoing problems. This right here truly is the biggest thing, but it is improving. Right here, it's going to be I-77. 2 lanes are currently blocked. These are the southbound lanes at Arrowwood Road. We have a backup between exits 3 to exit 4, so make sure you plan accordingly. Otherwise, hope you have a great weekend.